How's it going? 100 Days of Animation. Welcome to Illustrator. I'm Cory Kerr. This is 100 Days of Animation, Season 1, Episode 1, Day 1, Minute 1. So, 100 Days of Animation. Every day for 100 days, I'm going to spend a minimum of 30 minutes working on my short film. Now, I could be doing a number of different things, but it'd all be going towards progressing to the finish of that short film. My goal is to be completely done and release it by the end of these 100 days. So I want to show you where I've started and kind of what's going on. I'm going to be doing kind of a daily, I hate the word vlog. I sound like Ron Burgundy yogging. It could be a soft J. Apparently you just run. Anyway, so yeah, I'm going to be doing kind of daily videos about what I did that day and kind of show you what's going on so you can follow along. I've never animated anything before. I've done some motion graphics about 10 years ago. Maybe, well, wow, it's longer than that now. Anyway, long time ago, 12 to 14 years ago. And yeah, so that was something. And it was a long time ago, and everything was different as far as what's available today. So I am learning basically from scratch what to do. I know Adobe Illustrator really well. I know Adobe Photoshop really well, and I can draw. And so I'm going to use those skills and see if I can transfer them over to Adobe After Effects. So I'm either going to succeed or fail miserably, but no matter what I do, I'm going to do 100 days of it. And you should watch, because even if I crash and burn, yeah, it'll be fun to watch, I guess. Maybe you'll see me have a mental breakdown or something. That's possible. It's within the realm of possibility. So basically, 100 days of animation, every day, a minimum of 30 minutes towards doing something that progresses animation towards my goal. So I'm doing a little short film. I'll introduce you to some of the characters. I'm going to try not to give away too much of the plot, though the plot is... I'm editing that part out. I'm not going to tell you anything about the plot. Here's my elevator pitch. It's a political drama with insects. Imagine Animal Farm, but with a dictator on the rise who's a stink bug. And the wasp and his family who get caught in the mix. Terrible elevator pitch. I'll come up with a better elevator pitch, but we'll talk about the story later. I want to show you kind of what I've done so far on the animation side of things. You can see here that I have a character, and I've drawn this character. This character is but was created for one of my stickers that I did that you can get at kuretake.com. And what you can see here is you can see that my layers panel is really full. And normally my illustrations don't look like this. Like I wouldn't have just a single deal here. You know what I mean? Where's the button that I want to press? No, that's only, there we go. So you wouldn't just see like one piece. But what I'm doing is I'm creating things for animation. And so I'm building puppets, right? And so what I've done here is I've built a little puppet. And one of the things that I've learned is that if you are going from Adobe Illustrator to Adobe After Effects, that you need to get all of the different pieces, like this wing, for example. Let's take a look at this wing. So this wing is made out of a bunch of different pieces. You can see the different shapes and everything. But it's all on a single layer because these shapes inside of the wing are not going to move. Now I could do highlights and stuff and have them move, but that's not the style I'm going for. So everything that's going to move together as a unit, I put it on a high level layer, first level layer, right? These other levels, how they're nested in, they don't show up in After Effects. So when I bring this into After Effects, if I go here, oh, come on, get me there. All right, so if I go here, you can see that I made this guy move. Watch him move. Hey, look at that. he moves. His wings flap and his lens kind of focuses and everything. And so I kind of animated this guy. I've done this before. This is before day one. But you can look at each one of these. And so I'm going to go like, let's look at the leg front middle, right? So we can look at that. Each one of these has a different layer. So each one of these objects, you can tell, right, is just one of those objects. And each one of those objects that can move independently is one of these guys. Let's turn all these back on. All right, is one of these objects that's a single thing, right? And so if we're looking at from middle, all right, that's this one. So you can see those little guys over there. If I do this, you can see the different objects. The big one, the other one, right? And so then I can bring them into Adobe After Effects and I can make them move, right? And so you can see that this guy kind of just drags. And one of the things that I was really going for is some realism. And so these little deals right here, right? I feel like they want to be really floppy. And so I'm going to come like this. So as you see, it comes up and they bend backwards. See how it bends back because the force is moving this direction. Okay, and as that changes and it starts to go down, you see them kind of flop up, right? It happened really right there. So it kind of flops up, and then as it kind of whips down to the bottom, it kind of whips down that arc and slams on the ground, and then it stays solid. So that's kind of what I was going for there. You can kind of see it kind of whip, right? And so let me show you the whole thing again now that you have noticed that. And I've got to re-render it. So you'll see this leg come up and then whip as it goes down and then stop and it slams back down and then it drags on the ground like that. So let's watch just that there. And whip, whip, slam, whip, whip, slam, right? So there's stuff like that. The first thing that I did actually when I was experimenting with this, hey, why is this off the screen? There we go. I know there are technical names, but this is the butt, right? And if you've ever seen wasps, they kind of have that breathing where each section moves independently and kind of does this like kind of iron lung looking thing. And so I kind of tried to get that action going. And because I set this out as its own object, it can kind of do that little breathe deal. And then when I go back to the main thing, you can see that's happening right there. Kind of adds just a little bit of realism. Any little subtle movements that you can do to kind of add that is what I'm going for, right? And then the camera and the wings. The wings are really the only thing that are using kind of a Z space or forward and back. And so if we go to the wings here, let's look at the front wing. And I'll just expand that so you can see. Basically, I'm pivoting it at the shoulder joint. I don't know what you call that for a wing. Anyway, and you can see that it kind of like hits there and then it comes out. We'll go real slow. And I added some motion blur. But really, you can see like right there, it's just a flat layer. It's not 3D at all. This is what I call 2.5D or 2.5D. It's kind of like faked 3D or 3D made from 2D objects. And that's kind of the style of this deal. So that's what I've done for day one. Is I've kind of made this guy move, you know. Let me show you the lens. The lens is cool. I like the lens. Where is the lens? Leg, thorax, butt lens. Okay, so if we go into this lens, I've got it locked. Let me unlock it so I can open it up. Okay, so in the lens, you can see that it moves in and out, but nothing rotates. And I wanted to do like kind of this rotation deal and everything, but I realized that started to get super weird, super fast. And so anyway, I didn't end up doing that. But let me probably zoomed in a little bit. Let me just turn on these deals here. That'll kind of render that up. So you can see that this part just gets bigger and smaller. and this part just moves forward and back. And this inside moves proportionately, increases and decreases in size proportionately to the distance of this front part of the lens to the back part of the lens. And that all gives the illusion or the impression that the iris is getting bigger or smaller, or those optics are moving further or closer together. And even though it's really just this little deal in the middle right there, it's just getting bigger and smaller. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I kind of did a little math there. So here's my studio setup. You can see my Cintiq, and I actually had my dad make this desk for me. And the computer is a Mac Mini down in here, and all the wires, external hard drives and everything are totally hidden inside the desk. And so I just have the Cintiq on top, and then everything else is in there. The wires over here are still a mess because I'm still getting my sound set up. My new mic, pretty awesome. Pop filter, articulating arm so I can throw stuff out of the way. My mixer, flat files, my original comic art from got Ryan Otley and Sean Gordon Murphy and Tommy and a couple other people. And then I'm working on my bookshelves. You can see not everything is up yet, and I will need more bookshelves. There's where my daughter draws. There's where I draw. There's some toys. There's some IKEA furniture. Those are like removable, so I can have like inks and stuff. Anyway, good stuff. Pretty excited. That stupid thing lit on fire and almost burned my house down. And that sucked, and I hated it. And it still smells gross. So, as always, you can see my stuff and everything else that's going on in my art and illustration and whatnot at corykerr.com, CORYKERR.com. Subscribe to these videos to get notified of day 2 and onward. And that's it. Hit me up on Twitter and Instagram. I'd like to talk to you guys on that. I do a little Snapchat, mostly Twitter and Instagram. So my voice will get better. It doesn't always sound like this. I feel like James Earl Jones at the moment because I'm coming off of a cold. Anyway, 100 Days of Animation, Illotalk, corykerr.com. Other non-sentences.